nothing but the dog in me.
Why must I chase the cat?
Good evening and welcome to Pound Posse Presents. I am here tonight. It's just a little under a month before my birthday. So as is our tradition, Kristin Socci, thank you so much for joining me again.
You're welcome.
And Leo, almost on cue, going to try to get Speedo. But no, you can't right now, can you? No. Oh, no. It's an attack. It's an attack of a vicious pit bull. Call the authorities. Anyway, our tradition started with Leo's adoption.
Yep.
What I do every year, and I have since, I started my column, so I'm going to say the first year I did it was 2011. I put out a list of birthday dogs, as I call them, and they are dogs that I wish for my birthday to get homes. You know, I don't want presents and I don't want things, and things mean really nothing in comparison to an animal who's been sitting in a shelter or whose life is in danger getting a home.
Right.
And Leo was one of my birthday dogs. And can we get up the January poster? Leo was known as January. Zach's having technical difficulties. Okay, he's saying hold on. Anyway, Leo was known as January. January was in the Bristol Animal Control, and he had been there. I don't know, I did my
7 months.
Yeah, I did my show like in early July or late June, like this.
Mm-hmm.
And he'd been there since January.
Yep.
And I put him out there, and you found him.
I had already been watching, I think I'd already been watching his story on Facebook, and then you featured him, and I had just actually finished finding a home for a dog in my local shelter. At that time I was living down on the shoreline, so volunteering for the ACO, who since retired, sadly. And but I'd found, and so I was kind of looking, you know, should I foster another one? I already had 4 at the time. You know, should I foster, should I adopt? And then I saw him and just fell in love, and so checked with the husband. There he is.
Yep. And so you went ahead and took the plunge.
I took the plunge.
And when I woke up on my birthday, let's get the next picture, Zach. This is what I woke up to.
Yep. You can see he has his little leg shaved, and he had just gotten spayed, and so now he's a little bit chunkier than that picture.
He's filled out.
He's filled out.
He's grown up.
He needs a little bit more exercise, but
that was one of the most personal connections I've ever had to one of my birthday dogs, which makes it very cool. We'll take the camera back, Zach. It makes it very personal to have you come on and do this every year now with Leo. It's just the really coolest thing. So it's like Leo's way of
paying it forward, if you will.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So this year, what I did, I picked a couple of shelters, and I asked them to tell me who they thought needed the biggest push.
Okay.
I contacted, first we'll do Yonkers Animal Shelter.
Okay.
And they gave me some dogs, and then I contacted Juno's mom, because Juno does a lot of work with Sweetpea Friends of Rutland Shelter. I'm getting the name all wrong right now, but I have it written down. It's all good. It's Sweetpea Shelter up in Paxton, Mass. And they gave me a few picks.
Okay.
You know, friendship. Leo's just all sprawled out on the floor. You know, friendship has its ways, and you know, I'm friends with Jen and Leslie and them at the Yonkers Animal Shelter. I'm friends with Juno and her mom and Bert and his mom. So we kind of reached out and got a few picks from there, and then I added a couple at the end.
Great.
So we're gonna run through them, and you know, this is gonna be, I think, a big push. And you're going to help me.
Yep, I am.
We're
I have my
going to
notes.
be sharing, and I'm going to put them in my column as well. So without further ado, we're going to start with Comet. Zach, can we get that picture up?
Look at
Comet
that.
is 3 years old. He's about 75 pounds. He's neutered, and he's been at the shelter for many months. Comet's a great dog. He's dog and cat friendly, and he does so well with other dogs that he's being used as one of the tester dogs for the shelter, which is really an honor. I mean, that's a dog that just gets along with everybody.
That says a lot about the temperament of the dog if they can use that. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, Leo. Did I touch your butt with my foot? God forbid. I think there's a few pictures of Comet, so you can run through those. Yeah, so Comet is pretty much bulletproof if they're using him as a tester dog.
Yep.
He loves toys, and he'll amuse himself with a ball or rope toy. Well-mannered, rarely barks in his kennel, and is just waiting for a great family to come fall in love with him. I love the picture with his tongue sticking out. I think that's like awesome.
Yep.
Comet is a handsome guy. There's the one I love. He's like, I want to go home. Raspberries, I want to go home.
Very handsome.
So he is dog number 1 on the list. And next up, Kristin, we got Harley. Zach, let's get Harley up.
So we have Harley. He's 2 years old. He's been at the shelter for over a year, which is half of his life. He is great with people. He's very affectionate and loves to cuddle. He is 65 pounds, very athletic, and while he's appropriate for other dogs, he doesn't like to share his person, which means he might guard his person a little bit. So in that case, he should really be an only dog. He loves to chase balls and play with toys, and he would really like to start the rest of his life in a new home. So he's very sweet, and I certainly know what it's like to have a very cuddly, big pit, mushy dog. So, you know.
Leo who?
Leo.
Leo who?
So let's get Harley a home. Let's get him home.
Let's do it. Next, I love the picture of Christmas. That's like, that's the sad testament to the fact that he's been there for so long.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, Christmas was how long ago? And that was half of his time. He'd already been there half of his time.
Yeah.
So it's sad when a dog spends half its life, no matter how long it is, in a shelter. That's just, I can't imagine.
One day in a shelter is one day too long for a dog.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So you're talking a year, which is a half of his life.
Even if they're really resilient, it's, you know, still
it's tough. Sooner
not
or
a
later,
great,
yes.
not a great place for them to
Sooner or later
live out their
it's gonna
lives.
wear. Next up, we've got Sterling. And Sterling is a really handsome dog.
Very handsome.
He is a shelter favorite. He's been there over a year, and no one knows why. He loves people, he's very smart, and he has a playful, happy personality. You saw that first picture of him with the balls. He loves to push the balls around the play yard. I can just imagine, like, in his own little personal game of, you know, soccer or something.
Yeah.
You know? He can keep himself occupied with toys endlessly. He weighs about 55 pounds and is as handsome as they come. He does need to be an only pet. Which, you know, it's not the end of the world, folks. It doesn't mean he's okay. You can come on. It doesn't mean they're bad dogs when they need to be the only. It just means that, you know, they've got their preferences. And, you know, when dogs don't like other dogs, it's not the end of the world. I mostly don't like other people, so, you know, I can relate, you know. I mean, I really can. But these 3 dogs are at the Yonkers Animal Shelter. And you can flip through the first 3 there, Zach, if you would, for more information about any of these dogs, and that would be Comet, Harley, and Sterling. You can contact the Yonkers Animal Shelter, and their number is 201-981-3215. Once again, that's 201-981-3215. Or you can email Leslie M, Lesliem 147 at gmail.com. Leslie M 147 at gmail.com. So, as I messed it up to begin with, we'll take the camera back for a minute. Sweetpea Friends of Rutland Animals. I couldn't spit that all out.
It's kind of a tongue twister, Theo. It really is.
It is. It's kind of like, there's a few things in my world right now I'm like, my tongue is tripping over, kind of like the name of the place I work for now. Yeah, I did a few boo-boos on the phone, but we'll leave that alone. Sweetpea Friends of Rutland Animals. They are in Paxton, Mass. And like I said, they are the shelter that Juno and Bert strongly support. They do all kinds of fun things to help the dogs out there. And if you follow Juno and Bert's page, they get into all kinds of mischief there too.
Juno is adorable.
I love Juno. I just do. Juno and Bert are just something. And I have to give a quick shout out to Bert's mom because she broke her leg.
Oh no.
Yeah, and Bert was already playing with her crutches. We don't even want to. Yeah, go to the page. Go to the page, Bert's Brigade. It's pretty funny. Bert doesn't give Mom a break at all. Not at all.
Poor Mama.
Anyway, so again, in support of Juno and Bert's support of the wonderful things that Sweetpea does, yep, I have included some of their dogs on my list this year. So we're going to start with Sydney, if you can bring Sydney up. And Sydney is beautiful. You can scroll, look at that dog.
Wow.
Sydney's just gorgeous. And Sydney's been at the shelter. I love that picture. That's such a face.
Beautiful eyes.
Sydney has been at the shelter since March of 2014. Sydney was beat up by other dogs. The dogs that she lived with did not get along with her, and so now she's afraid of other dogs. So she's another one that needs to be an only. Unfortunately, you know, there was the not getting along thing, and her owner surrendered her. So I guess, you know, you could say it might have been for her protection. Nobody knows what the situation is on this end. So anyway, Sydney must be an only dog. She's good with children. She has nice manners and is eager to please. She would love to be someone's princess, you know, instead of a lady in waiting.
Yes.
That she's been there a long time. And again, only dogs are a niche adoption, but it can be done. It really can. Next up, Kristin has Brooklyn. Zach, if we could get those pictures up.
Oh my gosh, look at that.
Isn't she
face.
beautiful?
So she has been at the shelter since May of 2014. So that's a little over a year, poor baby. Brooklyn has some special needs. She has food and environmental allergies due to autoimmune issues. So she is exempt from vaccines. At 4 years old, Brooklyn still has a lot of love to give. Look at that attention.
I just love her.
Yeah.
She's like so snow white and beautiful.
She's good with some dogs. No idea on cats. And older children would be fine. She would probably do best as an only pet. And she has a great personality and would love to have a home of her own where she can be loved and spoiled.
Now, of course, you see her in the tub there. She was needing a lot of baths.
Medicated baths and stuff.
Yep.
So that would probably be another consideration if you, lots of pits do. My trainer, her dog has lots of allergies, and you just have to be prepared to either adjust their diet or go as far as doing a raw diet or whatever your vet recommends. I'm not going to recommend any, but look at the attention in that picture. That's just showing that dog is willing to learn and full of love and
very focused.
Very focused. You may just, you know, have to worry about food and bathing.
And that's really not the end of the world. You know, if you get in the right groove, my friend Sarah, her pet Angus, who I love him. He has issues too, and it's, you know, food issues, and, you know, it's grass, and it's, you know, whatever. And once you get on top of it, once you find that right mix, it's fine.
Yep.
You know, it's not.
It's just like a kid with allergies, you know?
Exactly. It gets to be a habit. You know, there's nothing, you know, if there's a flare up, you just got to pay it some extra attention.
Yep.
But it's not the end of the world. And, you know, I had a dog with autoimmune issues, and I probably, as I was writing that up, thought to myself, I probably shouldn't have been giving her vaccines. But, you know, the vet and I felt it was all right to do. But, you know, she's a beautiful girl, and she deserves to be in a home where, you know, she will be pampered and spoiled.
Yeah.
And, you know, they all do.
Played
they
with.
really do. Next up, we have a pair. Zach, can we get Bailey and Kitty? Now, Bailey and Kitty have been at the shelter since July of 2014. They're coming up on a year. And, you know, they're seniors. They're a bonded pair and would very much like to stay together. Bailey is 10 and Kitty is 12. Bailey is the lighter colored dog, and she's a real sweetie. We have her up on the screen right now. Kitty is the darker colored dog, and she can be a bit temperamental. Once she gets to know you, once she gets used to you, she really warms up. And really, these are two seniors who deserve to spend their golden years in a comfy, loving home rather than a shelter. You know, every dog deserves to be in a home. And I have to add that little Miss Kitty is Bert's brother's little girlfriend, and he'll probably be heartbroken when, you know, she does go home, but maybe they can, you know,
Have play dates or
arrange
something.
a hookup or something every now and then. But if we can run through those three again, Zach, or four, if you will, Bailey and Kitty and Sydney and who did you have there?
Brooklyn?
So bad, Brooklyn, yeah. We can run through all those. Those dogs are Sweetpea friends of Rutland Animals. They're in Paxton, Mass. And, you know, really, the fact that some of these dogs are in Yonkers and some are in Massachusetts, love knows no boundaries. It's never too far to drive for love.
It's true.
Never too far to drive to save a life. But anyway, if you want to find out more about these three, 508-757-7959. Once again, that's 508-757-7959. Or you can email Sweetpea4A, SWEETPEAFORA at Verizon.net. Sweetpea4A@Verizon.net. And, you know, I will mention that both the Yonkers Animal Shelter and Sweetpea, they do have their Facebook pages. They have all their dogs posted. Everything is up there. So, you know, you can go spend your own little time and bond with the pictures and read what they, you know, have as their descriptions and find out more about the shelters. You know, both shelters are very deserving of everyone's support, you know, for the wonderful things that they do for the animals.
Yep.
They really do so much to support them and to promote them and to care for them and to love them. And that's so important. You know, there is a big difference between just like an animal control and a shelter that cares. And so that's where we stand with these guys. We'll take the camera back for a second, and we will go into two more dogs that Kristin has that we threw in the mix. Just random dogs that, you know, caught my attention, and I really think do deserve to be included. You know, I did not reach out to the individual shelters, but saw the posts, and you know how that goes.
Oh, yes.
You know, you see the post, just like you saw Leo. You see the post, and the picture of the dog kind of speaks to you. So the next one we're going to have up is Murdoch, and Kristin's going to tell you about Murdoch.
Okay, so he's labeled as urgent. So far, there's been no interest in this big meatball boy. He is a dog, as you can kind of tell by looking at his face, he's been through hell. He deserves to know what it's like to trust a human and know what a loving home is like. He's 6.5 years old. He was used as a bait dog. He ended up in the town of Hempstead, that's on Long Island, New York, in the Hempstead Animal Shelter when his owner was arrested for dog fighting.
There's a surprise, right?
Well, much like my dog ended up in the shelter because the owner was arrested for dealing drugs.
Yep, exactly. I remember that little piece of info now that you mentioned it.
And, you know, poor baby was, you know, covered in fresh wounds, old scars, severely injured eye, as you can see up in the picture. Until recently, he was held in legal red tape, but now he's available for adoption, thank goodness, because sometimes these dogs when they're part of a court case. I
Oh,
know
they linger forever.
I know in my hometown of Milwaukee, there's some dogs that have been literally held for 2 years.
Yeah. Oh, they're
No interaction. It's horrible. So
Yeah.
anyways, this pup Murdoch is very lucky that he is now available for adoption. He loves people. He's a kisser, a cuddler, and a mush. Sounds a lot like my dog, who just rolled on his side.
Again. Yep.
He loves toys, walks well on a leash, not reactive to other dogs, but being that he, was used as a bait dog, probably would enjoy living out the remainder of his years as a only dog. So
yeah. I mean, because really, you have to consider that a dog like that, you never know what they're going to perceive from another dog as a threat.
Yeah.
And you just don't want to do that. You don't want to take that chance that he's going to feel like he needs to defend himself.
You want to make your dog feel safe.
Exactly.
You want to have a great bond with your dog. You want to do a lot of positive training and, form a great bond with your dog so that they know that they can trust you.
Yeah. And the safer they feel, the more you get out of the relationship.
Exactly.
Just like with people, just like with anything else, you want your dog to feel safe and cared for. And, the last thing that poor Murdoch needs at this point in his life is to be looking over his shoulder anymore.
Truth.
And like you said, he's lucky that he's available now because, even in Waterbury, there was a dog that was there for years because of the red tape. And a lot of people don't realize these dogs get seized. They end up being part of evidence.
Right.
And they are held up until that court case is over.
And when they're evidence, they don't get any human interaction.
No.
It's really sad because they don't want to...
People can't visit. People can't,
play with... Yeah.
Yeah, it becomes a sentence of its own for the dog.
Right.
Or dogs.
When it's not their fault whatsoever.
I mean, they're taken out of one bad situation and they're kind of put into another one just because it's the way the system works, and it's a shame. So certainly Murdoch deserves better.
Yep. So okay, my New York peeps, my Long Island peeps, let's get this boy a home. We have the Town of Hempstead Animal Shelter. That number is 516-785-5220. Again, 516-785-5220.
And next up, we have Zach, if you will give us Remy. Look at that.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so I'd say Remy is good with kids, likes to read a bedtime story. He's been at the Seymour Animal Shelter for almost a year. He's 2 years old. Another dog that has spent, half her life without a home. She's an awesome dog, loves kids, as you can see by the picture of her with the book. She needs to be an only dog. She can't wait to have a family where she can read every night to her child, her person.
And that's just such a priceless picture. That speaks to the temperament of the dog.
It really does. It really does. And so, and just I want to just touch on the whole older kid kind of conversation. First, let me just give it. It's Seymour, C-T-K, the letter K, and the number 9. So SEYMOURCTK, the number 9 at AOL.com to hear about Remy.
Now, Remy, of course, is in the Seymour, Connecticut Animal Shelter, which is, of course, the only Connecticut dog that made it into the mix this year. But, it's all good. It really is because... all dogs deserve a home. And if you're not interested in any of these dogs, find one.
Yeah, petfinder.com, adoptadog.com,
Yep.
just,
we'll take the camera back, Zach, since we're...
And I was just going to say one thing about, when a shelter says that a dog should be an only dog, or if they give the advice that it should be with an older children, it's not because there might be anything horrible about the dog. They're doing their due diligence to also protect the adopter. Mm-hmm. Because the last thing you want to do is get into a situation where you're going to have to then give the dog back to a shelter. So
and a lot of times it's not because the dog's a bad dog that it can't be around little children. Sometimes little children fighting dogs, and that's a fact. But most times when they say older children, it's because of the energy level and the strength of the dog. You don't want the dog knocking kids over.
You also don't want the child, you know, you have to learn dog body language. You have to, you know,
Kids can
whenever
torment a dog.
whenever somebody says a bite came out of nowhere, a bite doesn't come out of nowhere. You need to learn your dog's body language, especially when you have a big dog of any breed or a little dog of any breed.
Leo is just like all over the carpet.
He's doing he's on his back right now, folks. He's just giving us his
He just got
belly.
the craziest face.
Yeah.
Come here, Leo. Zach's
He's
trying
like,
to tune him in.
I'm a good boy. Oh. Come here. Come here, handsome. Good
Are you
job.
having a good time? Are you having a good time? I'm so glad you come here and have a good time because you're in such a good home and I love to see you. Yes, I do.
Yes.
You are my birthday doggy.
So without sounding a little too preachy, because I hope I'm not sounding a little too preachy.
Not at all.
just,
You're bringing up good points.
you know, it's having a dog is a lifetime commitment. They're the best thing you can do when you have the time and energy, and they
And really,
just
you have to know what you can handle. You know, if you're not going to make that commitment and be there for that dog for every little thing, don't do it. Get
Yeah.
a stuffed animal.
I started with 2 little dogs, and I never thought I'd have a big dog, and now I have a big dog, and he's just the best. So.
Oh, the vicious pit bulls. Let's debunk the myth. Let's do. Bless you, my
Kisses.
love.
Good boy.
He is such a good
Good
dog.
boy.
He really is. So Kristin, thank you so much.
Thank you, Theo, for having me
I
again.
love having you guys come because it just, you know, he is one of the happy endings, you know what I mean? And that does my heart so good. What I would love to have is everybody to share these dogs. Like I said, I'm going to put them in an article. Obviously, it's going to be on YouTube, the show, come the morning. So share away and help us get these dogs homes. They really deserve it. You know, it's what I want for my birthday. And my birthday is July 13th, so that's our time frame.
All right.
So tonight we're going to say
Peace, love, and dogs.
Good night, everybody.
Thank you.
You rock, girl. Good night, everybody.
Good night.